In the next 15 minutes, we are going to talk about getting started with Trello, everything you need to know about how Trello works, what it does, and how you can use it. So let's go ahead and kick things off. My name is Brittany. I am absolutely obsessed with Trello. I've been using it for about a decade, and it's no exaggeration to say it has changed my life. I have got many of my friends using it. And many of my coworkers and colleagues because I've created systems that help me get more of the right things done and not just do more things, but do more of the right things, as I like to say. So I've written a book about Trello. I have a blog and a YouTube channel all about Trello. So I'm constantly, talking about it. I'm also an Atlassian community leader. I have been for about 7 years, and I love answering people's questions about Trello. So you're here today because you want to learn what is Trello. So there's two ways I like to explain Trello. First of all, it's like a digital whiteboard with supercharged sticky notes. And what that means is if you've ever had a whiteboard situation, you know it's a central sort of home with pieces that kind of move around and help you sort of keep things in order and keep everybody on the same page when you're working on a project or planning a trip or handling chores around the house. I've used whiteboards for all of these things, and I'm sure you have too. And so Trello is a digital version of that with these supercharged sticky notes. So not only is it these sticky notes that you can pick up and move around, but they're supercharged. So they have some really advanced features, which we'll go into, like being able to add people to them or add subtasks to them or add comments and attachments and files or even images. So we'll get more into that, but let's just say it is supercharged sticky notes. Next, the other analogy I like to use is that Trello is like Lego bricks. You've seen them, you've seen people build some really, really cool things with them, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing. I want Legos. I want to build those cool things. But you'll get a new box of bricks, and you're like, well, what do I do with this? How do I get from this to, the Death Star or Hogwarts Castle or whatever you want to build with your Lego bricks? And that's where I like to think I come in because I like piecing these bricks together and showing people what goes which way and how you can make it look like a cool race car or how you can make it look like whatever you need it to look like. I'm like that sort of blueprint that comes in your Lego kits that says, put these bricks together and then put these bricks together and then put these together. And then you start seeing how the card comes together. So that's what I like to do. And that's why I think it's a really good analogy for Trello because it's very powerful, but all these little pieces can be very confusing if you don't have someone to show you how to put them together. Some common things that people use Trello for are organizing linear workflows, think like Kanban sort of things where something goes through a specific flow every time. For instance, like a blog post, right? It always starts as an idea, then it has a draft, then it has a review phase, then it has a publish. It could be, if you have an order business where you're like making a product and then shipping it out to people, you might have a flow of build the product and then ship it. It's been delivered, ask for a review, whatever your flow is, but everything goes through that. That's a common use case people will use Trello for. They'll also use it for just general sort of project planning and project management. And so it's a great place to kind of keep track of all the things that need to happen for a specific initiative, like if you've got an upcoming marketing launch or if you've got a new feature you've got to put together. People will also use it for ticketing. This is a common use case I see where handling sort of requests. So let's say you're a support team and you need people to, take care of issues. You might use Trello to keep track of issues that come in and how they're being solved and give people a way to track and view the progress of their requests. And then I also see people use it for a lot of trips or event plannings, things that have a very specific date, and it's kind of a crossover of project management with a little bit of timelining going on with it that line up to specific days. So these are just some of the ways. I've seen so many people use Trello in so many different ways. I've recently been using it to plan for a move. I use it to keep track of my chores. Yeah, let me just actually, yeah, I'll show you some of my Trello boards. I have one that I keep track of meal planning in. So this is my board where you can literally see the different things that I'm planning to make and keeps track of my shopping list. I have all sorts of advanced automation in here. I won't get into that today because it's pretty advanced, but suffice to say, I can do things like say, hey, I made this meal, and it's going to move it to a list where it doesn't assign it to me again for a while, so I don't have to worry about eating the same thing all the time. And it's just, yeah, really, really handy for that. I also have a sort of, this is my older life dashboard board. Let me go to my main one here to show you. This is where I kind of keep track of everything that I've got going on this week. So you can see I've literally got a card for making this video. I've got different sort of things about what I've been working on and what's in progress, related boards that I need, and all sorts of things to just kind of keep my life in order. And then another sort of fun and niche use case that I use this board to keep track of all the different things I want to buy. So it's kind of like an online cart where when I see something online, I just save it and I add it here. And it's easy to prevent impulse spending because I just save it here and I get the same dopamine from it. And then later I can come through and look and see what I've got and decide if I actually want to keep using that or if I'm still interested in that. So those are just some of my many boards. I also do chore planning in here. I've recently started storing quotes from my favorite books. Lots of different things to keep track of everything in my brain and make sure nothing is falling through the cracks. So the core components of Trello that you need to know about to get the most out of it are boards, lists, and cards. So a board is that sort of whiteboard concept, right? So let's look at this board as an example. This whole section here, this is my board. You can have boards for different projects, different people you work with. You can have boards for all sorts of different things. The next thing you group items in your board is by lists. And these are these sections here. You can have, as far as I know, as many as you want. And you can collapse them. You can change the colors of them. You can sort things in them. You can do all sorts of stuff, but this is a way to group the cards in your list. And then we've got cards. These are the third core piece of Trello. And this is your supercharged sticky notes. So you'll see that there's a lot you can do on these, right? You can add yourself to a card. You can add people to them. You can add dates like start dates and due dates. You can also add checklists, which are like little subtasks. You can add attachments. You can add even locations, which is really useful for when you're planning trips and things. And if you want anything else there, you can add your own custom fields. You can add a description, which is a great way to have like extra notes and keep context about it. You can also have comments where you can tag your teammates and go back and forth about different things that are going on in the card. And you can even change the covers to give it a little bit of style. You can make them look differently. You can add stickers to cards. This is cool and something that I've not seen in any other tool. Like, come on, how many other tools let you like actually add things like a sticker to cards like that? So yeah, so it's pretty cool. But those are the core concepts of a board or of Trello. But then when you're ready to take it to the next level, there are power-ups and automation. So I'm not going to cover too much about those today. I'll touch on them very briefly at the end, but they could be a whole session in and of themselves. And when you want to explore more, you can click this lightning bolt to look at different types of automations, which lets you set up rules that say, when I complete this card, move it to this list. Or when a card contains Brit in the name, assign it to Brit, or different things like that. Power-ups are other ways to supercharge your boards and let you add specific features and functionalities without having to build anything. So you can get reporting, you can import things, you can make limits on your list, you can add more documentation, you can track all sorts of different things, advanced mirror cards, lots of stuff going on there. So that's kind of the next level there. So the important things that you need to know about boards are that you can access them anywhere. that you can use it on your phone, you can use it in the Trello app, you can use it in your browser, like I'm doing here. And so it's really nice to keep track of your thoughts and capture things and put them whenever you need to do it. You don't have to be at a certain place. Two, they're typically grouped and set up for specific projects. So you can see I have specific uses for my boards, right? One is like a shopping cart, and one is like things I'm working on personally. And I have different boards for other things like, you know, capturing ideas, my pipeline, chores that I need to do, meals. You can see they're all kind of grouped around a specific sort of purpose. Three, the important thing to know about boards is that you control who sees them. So when you're in a board, all you need to do is click this icon here and you can change who can see what. So you can make a board private, which means only you and people you specifically add via share can see that content. Or you can choose workspace, which means anybody who's part of the workspace, which is kind of like the team that your Trello boards fall under, anybody in there can see it. Or you can make it public, which means literally anybody, even if they have a Trello, even if they don't have a Trello account, they can see this. So there's different reasons you might do different versions of that. But that's another way to think about how you structure boards is based on who all you want to be in there. You cannot limit, people can only see this list, people can only see these cards. It's at a board level. So that's worth thinking through as you're structuring your boards. Next, there is a limit of 10 boards in a free workspace. And as I mentioned, workspaces are basically the sort of organizations and teams that you get in Trello. And so you can see your list of workspaces here. I'm part of many of them. And so it's typically you're part of different ones. You can see I primarily operate in this one, but I also have others that I've stored kind of like folders for old boards I'm not using or when I've joined to collaborate with other people on things. All right, so that's the important pieces about boards. Here's how you create a board. I've got this GIF here showing you. You click that create, you give it a name, select a team or workspace, and boom, your board is created for you. So I'm not with you, but if you're watching this right now, would love for you to go ahead and create a board. Drop a comment if you have any questions or something doesn't work with that process. All right, so next we're going to dive into a little bit deeper about lists. This is the next building block of Trello. And the important way to think about them are they are these columns / sections of your board. You can group them in different ways. It could be like categories, like I have on this things to buy list, things to buy board, or you could group it as stages like I do on my content planning board. So you can see exactly where everything is set up here. 3, you can sort cards in a list. So that's a really handy action. For instance, if you're trying to maybe sort by due date, or you can sort by when they were created or alphabetically. Various reasons people may want to do that, but it's super useful to do. And if you find yourself doing that regularly, it's something you can automate. And again, we won't really dive too much into that, but just know that that's an option. Another thing that you can do with lists is bulk actions to do things. For instance, maybe you want to move all of the cards in a list, or maybe you want to copy that list. If you're wanting, or archive all of the cards in that list. So if you're wanting to do any of those sort of things, then it can be really easy to do that from a list level rather than having to do it to each card in that list. All right, so again, if you're watching, go ahead in the board you created, just create some lists. All you have to do is find where it says add list and type a name. You can call it test list. And you can just keep hitting enter and it'll start a new one. If you accidentally made one you don't want, click those 3 dots and hit archive this list and boom, it's gone. You can also drag them around. So let's say you want them in different orders. You can just click them, drag and move them around. Super easy to do. Again, if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments on this video. Got a little bit of homework for you watching. I'm not going to go through all of this, but go ahead and make yourself a to-do, done, and a doing list. And then drag the doing list in between to-do and done. This will set you up with a pretty good standard sort of board to get started with and start testing out Trello. All right, so with the last couple minutes, we're going to talk about what you need to know about cards, these supercharged sticky notes. And I've kind of already gone into the features of, you can add labels, you can add members and due dates. Members are good for assigning people to items. Labels are good for categorizing them, so you can specify something that's going on with it. You can use that for filtering, because anything that has a label, you'll automatically be able to filter your boards by. So that's a good cue of what to create labels for, is anything that you want to say, I only want to see cards on this board that fit X. That means you may want to create a label for that. Other things that you can do, you can add these checklist items to them. You can add attachments like other Trello cards. You can create custom fields. You can do all sorts of things to these. And the best part is you can drag them around and move them from list to list, no problem. Yeah, we also talked about activity and adding comments. So yeah, now it's your turn. Let's go ahead and add some cards on there and make sure to add a few notes, play around with the different features and drag them around. And again, if you have any questions, just comment below. Got a little list of homework for you. Feel free to pause the video, go through and do all of these. Let me know if you have any issues doing these, and I'll be happy to respond in the comments. And then lastly, I just really want to touch on board views in Trello. So this is a great way to kind of organize your cards. By default, you're going to see it like a board, but you can click this icon and you can also see them as a table or as a calendar or as a timeline, which lets you see it by date and by something else like the list it's in. Some of these views, like table, map, pretty much everything besides calendar, is only available on premium plans. Calendar view you can get with the Power-Up though, which is a perfect segue to my favorite part of Trello, one of my favorite parts, which is the Power-Ups, which are these third-party, not all third-party, Trello makes some of them, but these add-ons for Trello that give you new features and things. So if you check out besttrellopowerups.com, I'll include the link in the description, but you can see some of my recommendations for the best Power-Ups that I recommend, that I like using for all sorts of different use cases. So definitely check that out. And to add a Power-Up to your board, again, all you do is click that rocket ship icon, click Add Power-Ups, search for what you want. Once you go to it, click that Add button. And every Power-Up is a little bit different, but they'll walk you through what to do. So here's some other homework if you want to pause the video. If you need any help with this at all, again, you know the bit, drop a comment and I'll be happy to help. I also really quickly, before we go, want to show you some new features that have just come out to Trello. Trello has a new inbox, which is a great place to quickly capture anything. You don't have to worry about which board to sort it to. You can just drop it here in your inbox and then later drag it to the right board. You can connect your email and Slack to this, so things will quickly shoot in here when you forward an email or save a message in Slack. So that's super handy, and Atlassian AI kind of sorts it for you and comes up with action items and any potential dates that you might need to follow up with that. So that's really cool. The next thing is the planner. Trello now connects with your calendar, so you can keep track of what you are working on and drag cards over onto there to adjust them and plan out when you're going to actually do them. And I have videos that go into these new features. I'm gonna add them into the description, but just wanted to make sure you knew that these features are here. This is coming out, and it's very, very cool to see and use. And then another Trello feature that you may have missed is card mirroring. So let's say you want to keep track of this card on another board. You can copy this link and go to any other board in Trello, and you can just paste it. And it's going to show up like this. It's going to basically mirror all of the information and show you where it's from. You can click there to actually go to the card directly on that board. So it's a pretty cool feature. And then these Jira lists are also super cool. I have a whole video explaining how to do that. But effectively, if you're also using Jira and you want to keep track of those tasks in here, you can select the different types of tasks that you want and create a whole list. And it's going to operate just like this. As you can see, you can drag these around to put them in your workflows. And you can even update the status without having to go into Jira. I'm super excited about these new Trello features. And yeah, curious to hear what you think. And if you have any questions overall from watching this video, if you're wondering more about what Trello can do, how you can use it, or if it fits XYZ use case, feel free to comment below. I read each and every comment and get back to, I think I'm at a perfect record for responding to all of them thus far, so happy to respond and answer your questions. Other ways we can keep in touch, sign up for my Trello Substack. You can go to trello.substack.com and you'll get weekly Trello tips in your inbox every Thursday morning. I also have a YouTube channel, which may be where you're watching this, but you can also follow that link to subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll get a notification every time I post something new. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. And I've even got a book all about Trello. If you go to trellobook.com, you'll see details about how to order that. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking Trello with you soon.